Have you looked into Pinterest management and you're not sure if it's a great fit for you? Or maybe on the other hand, you didn't even realize that Pinterest management was a thing. In today's episode, I'm going to give you 5 reasons why Pinterest management might be a great career fit for you. I'm Emily Bales. I'm a Pinterest marketing and ad strategist, and for the past 4.5 years, I've helped my clients and my students increase their traffic and turn it into profit through the power of Pinterest marketing. Now, over the course of the past year, I have made this really exciting pivot where I'm not serving as many clients and I'm really focusing on my students and coaching them. So this is so exciting because the transformation they are experiencing is just so rewarding, not only for me to see, but for them to experience, because when you can change your career, that's life-changing for people. I have former teachers who are now quitting their teaching jobs and really going full-time with their freelance business and Pinterest management. I have former nurses, I have people who've worked in HR, really all over the map. And like I mentioned, it's just so exciting to be able to help people and really make this huge transformation in their life. But when people are making this decision, it can be scary for a lot of obvious reasons. There's a lot of questions, and some of them are questions that I can't necessarily answer until you're actually doing the work. But today, I'm gonna give you 5 reasons that are going to help you kind of sort through what you're gonna wanna consider when you're thinking about becoming a Pinterest manager, and also why it might be a great fit for you. So let's go ahead and dive into reason number 1. So when we're thinking about Pinterest management, do you like Pinterest? That's kind of a no-brainer, but most people come to me because they just love Pinterest. And so I think when they hear the term Pinterest and then there's an opportunity to work on the platform, if they know they already love Pinterest, it's really exciting. So a lot of messages I receive are from people who say, I love Pinterest, I use it all the time. How can I make money on the platform? Now, of course, there's lots of different ways to monetize Pinterest, and I do have another YouTube episode on that exact topic. But in this episode, I'm really talking about starting a freelance business. So as a Pinterest manager, you are actually managing other business owners' Pinterest account. So you are offering a service to business owners, and they are willing to pay you for that service because they either don't have time, or maybe they don't know how to market on Pinterest, but they know their audience is on Pinterest and that it really makes a lot of sense for them to market on the platform. So reason number 1 why Pinterest management might be a great fit for you is just if you love Pinterest. Now, reason number 2 that people have specifically said, they've said this over and over to me, is that they love how I've shared that you don't have to be all over social media in order to have a successful Pinterest management business. Now, I've said this before when I've talked to people who have applied to my Pinterest Manager Academy. And side note, if you are interested in learning more about my Pinterest Manager Academy, or you would like to apply, be sure to check out that link that is shared in this video. So back to not having to be all over social media. Some people are really uncomfortable, for obvious reasons, with showing their face on social media. And when I first started my business, I was one of those people. And it wasn't really about showing my face, but I was kind of embarrassed. And I know that sounds terrible to say, but I just want to be transparent about that. There is a lot of insecurities when you're changing careers, especially having been a former teacher. With starting a business, I had no prior marketing experience, no prior sales experience, no prior business experience. So I was really concerned, what would other people think? Would they think it was stupid? Would they think it was silly? And of course, should we live our life with that question of what are other people going to think? Of course not, but it's also human nature. So of course I didn't want to care, but I did. So in the beginning, it was easier for me to get started knowing that I didn't have to show up on social media if that wasn't comfortable to me. Now, I do tell my students a lot of times that when you're starting something new, you're gonna be uncomfortable because everything is so new to you, and that's okay. But there's a difference between it being uncomfortable learning something new and it being uncomfortable showing up in a way that feels inauthentic to you. And for me, it felt very out of alignment for me to be all over social media in the beginning with my business. I just wasn't ready for that. And in my opinion, that's okay. Now, other business coaches, mentors, whatever, they might tell you otherwise, But from my experience, I was able to find clients, make money, more than double my teaching income without having to be all over Instagram, all over TikTok, posting daily, obsessed with a social media strategy. Now, I do tell my students this as well. I would be not a good business a coach, a mentor, advisor if I said that social media is never going to help you with your freelance business. Of course, it's going to help you when you can share tips, testimonials, case studies, education to your audience. When you get more visibility, of course, that's also when more leads come. And when you have leads, then you're having people book discovery calls, and then those people are turning into paying clients. So of course that helps your business. But in the beginning, if that's something that's going to hold you back, put it aside. And for me, that was the best option, to just kind of table that social media strategy and just focus on getting some of the major milestones completed, such as getting my portfolio completed, getting testimonial work completed, landing that first client. And guess what? I was not all over social media. Now, I want to say it was maybe 2.5 years into my business before I got serious about Instagram. But by then, I had already had a very successful freelance business. So I was offering Pinterest management. And if you want to learn more about my story, I do have a YouTube episode all about that journey, because I actually started as a virtual assistant, pivoted to a social media manager, realized that was not for me, and then ended up landing on Pinterest management. And the funny part is that I had this intuition from the get-go when I learned about freelancing, and that there's essentially lots of different services you can offer as a freelancer. You could be a virtual assistant, you could be a Pinterest manager, you could be a podcast manager, you could be a web designer, you could be a copywriter. The list goes on. And what really piqued my interest was Pinterest management. But this is going back almost 6 years ago. I didn't know of any courses out there. I was really intimidated by the marketing side. I had no idea what that would really look like. I knew that I loved to be on the platform. I like to save pins, but I knew that the marketing side was going to be a lot different. So I don't want to say safer, but more comfortable, which was social media management. And that's when I decided after a year of that wasn't a fit for me. So kind of also going back to reason number one, I really decided that Pinterest management was for me just because I love Pinterest. Now going back to that alignment, the reason why I actually did eventually really focus on and even had a business coach help me with that strategy for my Instagram specifically was that was when I started creating digital courses. And so I decided that I need to really focus on building my email list. I had a lead magnet, then I had a free training, and I was needing a much higher volume than I needed before in regards to people seeing my content. So one thing to keep in mind is that when you are a freelancer, you can only reasonably support so many clients at once. And then you'll get to a point where you have more people coming to you and you want to continue to scale your business. And you kind of come to a crossroads where you can either stay where you are currently, or if you want to continue to take on clients, then you can really go the agency route where you do have a team and you have other people who work as Pinterest managers or subcontract within your business. So obviously that's kind of, thinking in the future, but I just want to put that out there and also kind of share what that looked like with me then pivoting and deciding that, okay, I'm now ready to show up on social media. Now it feels right. Now I'm excited to do it. And I'm ready for this. Now, it's not to say that if somebody wouldn't have pushed me 2 years earlier that I couldn't have done it, but sometimes if that's something that's gonna keep people from getting started, it's just not worth it. Also, it's not easy to build a social media presence and market yourself, especially when that's not your background. And you could spend a lot of time marketing on social media, and sometimes I think that distracts us from the bigger picture. And for me, I want my students to get that first client, to get their portfolio done. Like I mentioned, there are milestones I want them to accomplish before they start thinking about a really intentional social media strategy. I believe in the beginning it can almost serve as a distraction. And I think that we overthink things and overanalyze it, and we can spend a lot of time and not necessarily always have a lot to show for it. So that's kind of my 2 cents with how to show up in the beginning with your business. But I think that really allows people to be like, okay, that takes a lot of pressure off because there are absolutely other ways to work from home that require you to be all over social media. So that's something that people have told me that really attracts them to Pinterest management, is that I'm sharing that in the beginning, especially when you're just focusing on getting clients and you want to start making money, you don't have to have that all the time social media presence. Reason number 3 why Pinterest management might be a great fit for you is if you want to work from home. I knew that once I had my first daughter, that not only did it financially make 0 sense to return to teaching, but I wanted to be home with her. And obviously, if I would have gone back to teaching, that would have been physically impossible. And I actually worked for a really great school, and they were going to work with me and allow me to come back part-time, which it was kind of unheard of for teaching. However, even to be away from her for 3 full days a week, I was greedy, I was selfish. I did not want to share that time with my daughter and, have a babysitter or daycare. I wanted all of that time to myself because I knew that time was fleeting and it was gonna go by so fast. So the fact that I could be at home was such a game changer for me. And when I was searching for ways to work from home, there's lots of different options out there. I'm just gonna be transparent about that. So that's why I think it's important to think about what feels in alignment to you. And actually, we're gonna talk about alignment in just 1 minute. But for me, it was a huge part of deciding to become a Pinterest manager that I could do it from home. And now it's so amazing because actually last weekend, I went on a girls trip. It was the first girls trip I've been on in since before I had kids. And it was so much fun. I got to go with my sisters and I did bring my laptop. And on the plane, I did a little bit of work. And in the morning, sometimes I'd squeeze in a half an hour. And it's so nice that I can really control my schedule and really work from anywhere. Some days that looks like me sitting in the car, working on my laptop while my daughter's in dance. I'll have an hour of downtime. And there could be other things like I go stroll Target or do whatever, but I'm able to utilize that time and get work done and really, like I mentioned, utilize those pockets of time during the day. So that freedom and flexibility was a huge reason why I chose freelancing and Pinterest management. Now, reason number 4 that you might want to become a Pinterest manager, like I shared just a second ago, is alignment. So there are so many ways that you can work from home, and we live in this amazing time where you can decide, do I want to work from home and what feels right to me? And of course, I'm a little biased. I think that Pinterest management is the best, but I want you to think through what feels right to you. So for example, there are some ways that you can work online that will allow you to be from home, but one that I looked into was actually teaching English online. And what didn't work for me about that, where it fell out of alignment, which is the whole theme here of reason number 4 that Pinterest management might be a good fit for you, is that I had to work specific hours because I was actually teaching kiddos in China English, or that's what I would be doing. So I actually never did get started. I actually started to go through the application process. And then when I learned more details about having some specific time constraints and actually having to do it specific times of the day, and there's a little bit of flexibility with choosing, what windows that you wanted to be teaching in, but it's a big time difference. And so that was something that I'm like, then I'm gonna be kind of trapped by time again. And this is exactly what I don't want. So it checked the box. Yes, I'd be able to be from home. No, I don't want to have to work specific times of the day. And then also I was going to have a little mini classroom set up behind me. We had a very small house. We had just had a baby. It just felt like it was getting complicated. Something else that wouldn't have felt right for me, like I shared in the beginning, was having to be all over social media. So I knew I didn't want to be an influencer, didn't want to try to go that route. I know that there are other options such as affiliate marketing where you do need to have a big presence and it's all about getting traffic to those links, and that's okay. Some people make so much money from it and they do so well, and that feels right to them, and yay for them. But that just wouldn't have been for me. So that's not to bash those people. It's not about that, but just finding what feels right to you. So reason number 5, as we round out this episode, that Pinterest management might be a good fit for you is the ability to batch your work. So one thing that was so nice about Pinterest management that was honestly a breath of fresh air was the fact that I didn't have to be on the platform feeling like I was hustling every single day. I think that was really one of the things that drove me nuts about social media management, to be totally honest and transparent, was a lot of my clients, they wanted posts done at very specific times, which I get. There's times where engagement is going to be going up, and especially after you posted, you would want to be on the platform engaging. A lot of Instagram strategists will tell you 20 to 30 minutes after you post, stay, engage, respond to comments, like comments, all of those things. And also, a lot of my clients wanted me to post manually because we wanted to test, was that going to perform better than scheduling out posts. And the thing with scheduling then too is then you still had to be intentional about going and engaging, liking comments, responding, because you don't want to post and ghost. And it just got complicated, and it felt almost like I was being tied down to something again, when the whole reason why I had started a business was to have flexibility. So I had to post at specific times, then I had to engage for so long. I had to do so much engagement a day. I needed to post stories daily. I needed to respond to direct messages, and it felt exhausting. Now that's just one example, and some people love social media management. That's why I'm also going back to it's all about alignment. That didn't feel right to me though. It's very important that we are cognizant about what fills our cup and what leaves it feeling empty. And it left me feeling drained to have to, in some ways, it kind of felt like I was a slave to the platform and doing things at specific times. And that wasn't always conducive to motherhood. So with Pinterest, the fact that I could batch content, I could work on Ashley's account on Monday, I could work on Stephanie's account on Tuesday, I could work on Dina's account on Wednesday, and I could batch that work. And then sometimes most of the time I would schedule them at least 7 days out, sometimes 10 days out. In between there, I wasn't having to do this regular hustling and engaging and responding to all these messages. It was really, I scheduled it, I batched it, and then the next week I would be working on their account again. Now, I did occasionally pin things manually, but it was a lot different than social media management. So the fact that I didn't have to be hustling on the platform every dang day was like a breath of fresh air, as I mentioned. So I hope that when you're thinking about Pinterest management, deciding if this is going to be a good fit for you, that these 5 reasons are kind of giving you some clarity on if this will be a good fit. So I have so many videos, not only on Pinterest marketing and actually the learning and the education side of things, so what you would actually be doing if you were marketing on Pinterest, and you can think of, okay, maybe I'm not doing this on my account, but this is what I'd be applying to my client's account. I have a lot of videos on Pinterest marketing, but I also have a lot more YouTube videos about Pinterest management that I think will give you a lot of clarity when you're deciding and really making this huge decision on, is this a pivot I want to make? And a lot of my students, they have full-time jobs when they get started, and they're not ready to quit their job. They really want to have a smooth transition where they start working with 1 client, 2 clients, start building that up before they feel like they'll be comfortable to walk away from their job. But the majority of my students, they aren't doing this as a quote side hustle. They're doing this so they can leave their current job. Now, some of them are stay-at-home moms and they need the money. They want a creative outlet. They know that they have so much potential and they want to challenge themselves in a new way. So everybody's circumstances obviously in their life looks a little bit different, but one thing that I want to share is just kind of one last bonus tip is that you really have to be an action taker in order to succeed at this. I really try to be honest with people and say that this doesn't happen overnight, but I have students who get clients in less than 30 days, and it truly is one of those things where you're gonna get out of it what you put into it. So if you are ready to take action, I would love to invite you to apply to my Pinterest Manager Academy. And if you are thinking, whoa, Emily, we just met, I'm not ready for that yet, that's totally fine. I have a free Pinterest Manager training, 75, sometimes they run 90 minutes. I would love to invite you to watch that free Pinterest Manager training, because that is going to give you so much more information on actually seeing the work explaining more in depth what you'll actually be doing as a Pinterest manager, what the next steps would look like. I would love for you to watch that free Pinterest manager training, and then if you feel ready to apply to the Pinterest Manager Academy, I would be honored to educate you and become your coach, because the students in my academy are actually receiving personalized coaching, and I find that that really makes all the difference in the world to their success, honestly, to have somebody sitting on their side of the table, walking with them every step of the way to make sure that they succeed. So be sure to check that out. That is linked to this video. So I would love to invite you to subscribe to my channel. That allows me to come back week after week and continue to serve you. And I can't wait to see you soon in next week's episode. Bye for now, friends.